Good day, and thank you very much for inviting me once again to this forum. My name is Tapiwa Murambinda. I'm a partner at Baker Tilly, particularly in Southern Africa. I'm going to be presenting on opportunities in Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as give you highlights and key updates. So just in a nutshell, Africa is no longer a tech continent. We are looking at 600 tech hubs, up from 422 in 2018. According to Partech, in 2020 alone, $2 billion exchanged hands in terms of equity funding. And according to statistics, half of the world's population growth is going to happen in Africa. Recently, Africa signed an African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which took effect from 1 January 2021. So obviously now the key focus will be on infrastructure. Looking at the bigger picture, 1.7 billion in population by 2030 and 6 trillion in GDP growth. So of the world's 12 fastest growing economies, 6 of them are in Africa. We are looking at Ethiopia, Rwanda, Cote d'Ivoire, Tanzania, Senegal, as well as Ghana. And the average expected GDP growth of these economies is a massive 7.4%. But obviously there are other factors that you have to look at as you be investing in these markets. Now, in terms of our stock markets, just a sneak preview. Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, the best performing for the past 3 months at 149%, then a 2-year rolling of 2,000%. But this is largely because of institutional investors, because of lack of alternative investments. But also, there's also been Ghana Stock Exchange, Nigeria Stock Exchange with an average of 36%. But generally, the market has been performing and there are options to look at. Just also a peek of some performing markets in Africa. Obviously, there's Nigeria, which is topping the charts. But Mauritius has been stable as well, as you can see from the graph, between 5 and 7%. Largely because it has been an investment gateway to Africa. Now, looking at our sectorial updates, we have picked our traditional markets or sectors. That's your mining and metals, agriculture, and energy. So for mining, we'll just highlight the fact that Africa is heavily underexplored, so there are opportunities in exploration. But also, there are rare earth elements in Africa, which is your raw materials for next generation production of batteries. For your electric vehicle. So it's a big game changer and there are long-term returns in that sector. There are also opportunities, software, supply of software and robotics, then equipment hire for small scale miners. But in terms of financing as well, we are looking at structured finance and pre-shipping finance and collateral management. For agriculture, Africa, you'll find that has been largely been moving from subsistence farming to commercial. And aspects of livestock management, crop monitoring, and precision agriculture have been discussed. So there are great opportunities in the supply of such technology and equipment, but also in terms of value addition and food processing, preservation. 20% of Africa's harvest is lost in post-harvest period. So governments are trying to change ways around that to avoid further losses. But there are also opportunities in financing. Currently, governments are also striving towards technology and innovation. So hydroponics and aquaponics, as well as greenhouse farming, are taking the center stage. For other investors as well, marijuana, because Africa has vast tracts of land, so there are valuable opportunities because the industry has now been opened up and regulated. For energy, we are looking at digitization, smart meters, smart grids, but also, supply of highly powered solar panels to match the abundant resources, that is the sun. The market for energy is unlimited. We are looking at 600 people who still need electricity in Africa. And 29% is being electrified in terms of rural population. Now to what we are calling the emerging sectors in Africa. For healthcare, education, and ICT, healthcare is a $40 billion industry, and governments have been struggling to provide adequate healthcare. So there are opportunities in the private sector. And there's need for localized healthcare solutions now that people are not able to travel as frequently as they would to seek medical medical assistance. Health technology currently is outdated, so there is a market for new technology and also personal protective equipment because of COVID. Then governments are also thriving towards drug discovery, so there are opportunities in there. For education, from 2000 to 2012, pre-primary enrollment grew up by 50%, which means by now these are millennials. They are 19 years and more adaptable to technology solutions, such that the e-learning market by 2022 will be worth $1 billion. And governments are expending 5% of their GDP in education. So you can imagine massive opportunities existing in that sector. For ICT, currently only 43% of Africa has access to electricity and the internet. And these are mainly being funded by China and tech companies. But there are opportunities that exist in tech startups as well as financial technology. Now, looking at the current trends and also, COVID, obviously I spoke about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The gist of that is that there are areas of cooperation that Africa is working towards, that is financial, agriculture, scientific technology, human resources. So you're looking at an average growth that is expected for the next 5 to 10 years of 50%. And currently 32 signatories are in there for the agreement. The implications are mainly in, reduction in trade barriers, a lot of cooperation in terms of customs, as well as progressive liberalization of trade. So those are the statistics on the overall effects of the agreement once it's implemented fully. And the highlight is that there will be a lot of intra-Africa exports at 68 billion. So those are the factors to consider when you're looking at then exporting to Africa and looking at production in Africa. Now, onto the effects of COVID and the opportunities existing. There have been challenges just like any other market. And, there is an expected decline in economic growth of between 2 and 5%. Our exports will mainly fall by 10% average. And there's also going to be a decline in, currency values, and this already happened. Disruption of supply chains for raw materials. And, Africa was hit by a second wave before even recovering from the first wave. Challenges in also, fragile health systems and access to vaccines have been experienced. But also on a macro level, sovereign debt default will be expected to increase to between 60 and 70% of GDP. So that is a massive debt default, and in terms of risk analysis, a critical element. But it has also brought some opportunities. There are lots of SME and export-driven markets. Those ones have not been heavily disrupted. ICT and technology solutions, because of mobile working and the need to automate our industries, there's been a lot of opportunities in that sector. Extractive industries in mining and agriculture have not been heavily affected. There are also opportunities in freight and forwarding, obviously, because there is less movement of individuals. Drone technology, delivery of health systems via drone, delivery of smart technologies via drone. Then at macro level, we are looking at debt management. Governments have been struggling in terms of debt management, but also governments have been increasing their health expenditure. So there are opportunities in public-private sector partnerships. Outsourcing in terms of labor, it is heavily abundant in Africa, young and educated. So those are the overall, a pictorial view of a decline in exports in agriculture and mining. The maximum being an 18% decline in agricultural exports, and the amount impact being 11%. But the rest, I think they are in agreement with the rest of the world. So just some tips on your investments. Obviously, you want to de-risk, so you look at use of collateral managers, asset managers, and private firms. Then also be careful in terms of evaluations. In the short term, they may be distorted. So look at also export-driven businesses that have got a dollar value. Then you should also target sustainable development goals, projects that have got SDGs in them. And such projects, they also attract the prescribed asset status that is accommodation, health, education. Also, we urge you to partner with locals with social capital as well as political capital. Africa generally is a high risk, high rewards area, and billionaires, they thrive in chaos. As for our contacts, we are present in Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, and recently Malawi. So our emails, you can get us on capital@bakertilly.co, the respective domain. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. We look forward to engaging with you further.